Welcome. This is the Commissioner Corner podcast. It is July 12th, and this is episode 42. As always, we are presented by web3chaos.com. Check out web3chaos.com for your webpage, social media, and all your other graphics needs for a very affordable price. We are in the final season of this Madden cycle, Madden 18. Tonight, we're going to take a look back at the record predictions from Bleacher Report. We're going to see where they were right and where they were wrong. And then we're going to look at the playoff picture for MBL Season 32. And after an intense finish to the Giants-Vikings game, it really looks like this is going to be another great year for MBL playoff matchups. Now, I don't think that Bomber is currently back, so I'm going to have to continue talking.
And I'm here, baby.
There he is.
What's going on?
Good
MBL
timing.
Network, live on youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. I'm going to be live once again tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the MBL Live. I'm just checking out the format here on the Commissioner Corner. What's going on, Lib? What do we got? What are we talking about today? Have you already gotten to it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so what do we got? Let's roll.
All right, so we're going to take a look back at the predictions that the Bleacher Report made. Now, we went over these at the start of this season, but something that we don't get to do a whole lot on this show is go back and look at what predictions were made, what we talked about before, see where we're at now. But we're going to do that tonight, and we're going to start in the AFC East. Now, as you know, Bleacher Report goes through and they predict who's going to finish where. They predict the records of each team in each division. So, starting out with this one, this is a pretty important one, as we had the Jets going 10-6 and also the Patriots going 10-6. Well, the Jets blew that out of the water, finishing at 14-2, picking up that top seed in the AFC. Bananas winning that division. The New England Patriots finished 8-8. The Bills were kind of close there at 9-7, but that prediction for the Patriots is 10-6. They didn't even finish second in the division, Bomber.
Yeah, we talked about this before the season started, about the New England Patriots' history and their record history on what they've done, but yet the Bleacher Report continued to predict them as a double-digit winning team, which hasn't been the case the entire cycle except for one season. So now, as I did earlier in this Commissioner Corner podcast, I think I did it at the beginning of MBL Season 32, so possibly 45 days ago, which means about 2 to 3 episodes ago. I talked about the prediction of the Patriots being 10-6 being about as laughable as it can get, because that team wins between 7 and 9 games a season. So I'm going to take us all the way down that yellow brick road, and we're going to talk a little bit about the New England Patriots, who won the division, I believe, twice this entire cycle. So we're going to go back to MBL Season 26. They finished 9-7. Note, that isn't 10-6. In MBL Season, see if I can get the thing to work. In MBL Season 27, they finished 10-6, which was their prediction for them to be in MBL Season 32. So Season 26, they were 9-7. Season 27, they were 10-6. Now we go to Season 28. They were 8-8. Now we're going to go to Season 29. They were 9-7. Now we're going to go to Season 30. They were 8-8. Then we're going to go to Season 31. They were 9-7. Now all the way, let's catch up to current. What are they? They were predicted 10-6, right? They finished 8-8, as you said. How the heck do they keep getting predictions that have them finishing 10 to 12 games, winning 10 to 12 games in a season? It makes no sense. This team has, the most they've won is 10 games. They did it once. They're an average team that wins between 7 to 9 games a season. They've won their division, I believe, twice, and that says more about the division than it does about the team. I just had to get that off my chest, because you got 5 guys over there doing Bleacher Report. I want to know who's influencing the AFC East. I understand it's a hard division to pick, but let's stop pretending like these teams are winning 10-plus games every season, because the majority of the time, this division is won at 9 games. So let's stop predicting 10-win teams when, really, now that Bananas is there, was the first time you saw a really successful win-loss percentage from a team in that division. That's just my 2 cents there. I told you we would talk about it at the end of the year, and if I was wrong, I would have ate it. But I was absolutely right, per usual. And here we are. Now we're talking about the New England Patriots, the 8-8 Patriots, 3rd in the AFC East. And put some respect on Banana's name. He's a former MBL champion. To put him at 10-6 with the Jets team was just almost laughable, to put him at the same grade as the New England Patriots, who have struggled this entire cycle.
Yeah, and they also had those Bills at 5-11, and the Bills were able to finish 9-7. Their offense was it's pretty tough to find throughout the year, but that defense was pretty good. Third in the MBL in total yards, finishing 9-7, just missing the playoffs. So that's where they were right and wrong for the AFC East. So we're going to move on to the AFC North. Now, this was a division that I believe that a fella named Starr just won at 14-2. Taking that division over the Pittsburgh Steelers, who finished 13-3. The Baltimore Ravens finished at 8-8. And at the beginning of the season, these guys predicted that the Browns would be 11-5. They got the Steelers right on, but they just did not predict that the Browns would be able to win an extra game over that and go and win the division at 14-2. They did, but those are the defending MBL champions. How are they going to not give them the respect of winning their own division because they're the current champions, Bomber?
Yeah, to go at 11-5 just seems a little head-scratching to me as well. And here's the issue. Shave those 2 wins you gave the New England Patriots, put them back down to level, give the Bananas the respect that he deserves. Then on top of that, give the Browns the respect they deserve. They got you at 13-3, which is what you finished. They had the Detroit Lions at 13-3 is what I finished. So they got us, both of us, right, but they completely undershot the Cleveland Browns, maybe because the Browns were wild card. I'll give them a pass, but 12-4 is what I would say the Browns would have been at the beginning of the season. They ended up finishing 14-2. It's hard to predict the 14-2. 13-3 is actually the highest I'd give a prediction. So 11-5 is just a little disrespectful to me because I think they're shooing at 12 and arguably for 13-3 because this team was hot with the rookie quarterback, won the Super Bowl. They're coming off tons of momentum, but 11-5, that's still not as outlandish of a kind of a sleeper as it was putting the Patriots at 10-6.
Yeah, and this Browns team, 14-2, their 2 losses, they came against the Jets, who we just talked about, are 14-2. That was a 3-point loss. And their other loss came against the Seahawks, who are a 13-3 team. So that just tells you that the Browns are, they're right up there with the best teams in the league. They're playing very close with the other teams that are high in the seeding for the playoffs. But the other part of this division, they got the Ravens right on at 8-8, but just not believing that the Browns could pull off the division win. I can't believe that Bleacher Report did not give them that respect. But we're gonna get into the playoff talk a little bit later. We're gonna talk about those Browns and see if they can look at their road to repeating, and it's going to be an interesting discussion. But we're going to move on to the AFC South, and this is the home of Sonny Weaver, as Bomber likes to say, the underachiever, and that's exactly where Sonny Weaver is at this year. 9-7 for Sonny Weaver, third in the division. Lost the division to the 8-7-1 Jacksonville Jaguars, and also the Texans having a great year, or a better year at 8-7-1 as well, but the Jaguars were able to take the division over them. This is an exciting win because we love to see new division winners, and to see Unisolated take the division over Sonny, that's something that's very exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen a team that hasn't won yet, and then, guys, if it's blurry for you right now, it's 1080 actually. But the reason why it might be blurring, it might be the mobile. So if you're watching it on mobile, try to head over to the PC. There's some issue with YouTube mobile right now that's creating that, because I'm watching it on both right now. And actually on the computer, it's looking 1080. I'm not seeing any issues with the pictures at all. So head on over to your computer. If you got one pricey, you're out of luck. I know you're watching on your mobile on the lawnmower. You're just out of luck right now. Okay, but yeah, let's get back to it. Yeah, it's good to see the Jacksonville Jaguars come through, but the 11-5 for the Titans was probably earned. 6-10 for the Colts, 9-7 for the Texans. They were kind of right with the Texans. Yeah. You notice that? They were like, that was a good, whoever did this division did really good, because the Texans surprised me at 8-7-1. They had them at 9-7. I mean, you take that tie away, that's a 9-7. Jaguars, they had them going 8-8, which 9-7 is pretty close. The Titans just pretty much crapped the bed. So they finished 7-9, but at the same time in 11-5, this was a well-done division. I got no beef with this, but it's great to see a new face at the very end. And Sonny, you're going to beat yourself up over this, because as we wait for the next Madden, you're going to get to see Unisolated's face on a division you were in for probably, I'd say, close to 80 days from now. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's something Sonny's going to have to live with every time he checks in to the Bomber League Daddy League site, and I don't want to look at it. I know Sonny doesn't want to look at it, but moving on to the AFC West, this is probably the most exciting because DB was really excited to be 13-3 this year and be the champion of the AFC West. This is probably something, this is going to be way off, I would imagine, just because the Chargers were just steamrolling through that division every year, and it was kind of a battle for that fringe wild card spot, in or out, kind of between these other three teams. And this is a really good division, as they all play, really good. Chiefs made the playoffs this year, but they had the Chargers at 10-6, and then they had the Chiefs at 9-7, followed by the Raiders at 8-8, and the Broncos 7-9. However, the Broncos completely reversed that, going 13-3, winning their division. The worst thing is seeing the Chargers at 6-10. But then also, you have the Chiefs, who got a playoff win, I believe, last night over these Broncos. I think that's right. And the Chiefs are moving on in the playoffs.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that was a big win over there. That I watched that game. It came on really, really late. And, man, it was really, really, really just a back-and-forth battle. When Broncos got off, I believe, to a 10-0 lead. Chiefs clawed their way back, ended up taking like a lead 17-15. The Broncos, it just seemed like the Broncos were going to win, but the Chiefs' Draco defense held strong, and even at the end when they were on the 20-yard line, they ended up sacking them. He couldn't even get a pass off. Julius Stewart, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, who looked pretty good throughout the entire year. He had 19 touchdowns on the season, 18 interceptions, 93.8 QBR, 68% completion, his highest of the cycle. He was very formidable, former first-round pick from MBL season 29. 28, excuse me. Julius Stewart, 6'3", 233. He looked good, but when he looked bad, something was a little off. Maybe a little bit of playoff nerves, as this was his first playoff appearance of the cycle. And they go one and done, son. That means the 13-3 Broncos are out. The Kansas City Chiefs are still in. Draco defense looking to go on that miracle run. Maybe upset a few more teams along the way.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong on this. I think that the playoff matchup is set with those Chiefs winning as the 6th seed. I think they're going to be taking on the Jets, so that's going to be another interesting thing to watch. We've got an NBL Live tonight, Steelers-Jaguars in the AFC playoff race, so we'll get to see that play out. But with these Broncos, they averaged 27 points with a passing attack that was 29th in the league. Their defense allowed 19 points a game, which was 8th in the league. The rest of their defensive stats are kind of middle of the road, not that impressive. But still, 13-3, another first-time division winner. Very excited, DB was, and we are also very excited to see him take that division. So, congratulations to him for that. Moving on, we're going over to the other conference, and we're going to the NFC East. And we just saw a big playoff win from these Giants over the Vikings. It was an incredible finish. But the Giants won the division at 10-6, followed by the Cowboys at 8-8, Redskins 7-8-1, and Eagles 4-12. And this was a division that BR actually picked the Redskins to take this division at 10-6. Now, Bomber, I'm sure that you have tons to say about this. The Redskins 10-6, winning the NFC East and finishing 7-8-1. What do you got to say about that, Porter's Redskins?
Porter's Redskins. I was wanting to chat with Porter. Here's a little MBL Commissioner Corner story time for you. It's probably 1 a.m. at this point. I'm in a chat with Porter, and he just looks at his record. He's in the franchise. He just played his last game, and he just goes, "Damn, Bomber." I said, "What's up, Porter? What's going on?" He said, "Man, it just hit me." He finished 7-8-1. He finished with a win over the Giants. I said, "What hit you, man?" He goes, "I didn't make the playoffs this entire cycle." So, with some sad times for the Redskins, a lot of high hopes going into this season. They ended up finishing 3rd in the division, and training the Dallas Cowboys finished 8-8. But the Giants, I don't know why people sleep on them. They just defeated the Minnesota Vikings, who were 12-4 today, in a big-time home field advantage game in the wild card that came down to the very, very end. Had a crazy little finish there. But, man, I mean, if you look at this New York Giants team, there's no reason why they should have had them 8-8. I mean, they've done everything to show us that they should at least win 10 games. They did finish 10-6, but they went out on a limb here. I can respect it. They took the Redskins for some reason. They dogged out the Cowboys. Cowboys 6-10. They're usually 7-9, 8-8. And the Eagles, they gave them 3 wins. What did the Eagles come away with? 4-12? So
yes.
I would probably had the Eagles 2-14, 1-15. I probably would have went that way and gave a few wins on the backside to the Cowboys to 8-8. But then again, you could have skimmed them off the Redskins. I would have had the Redskins finishing 9-7, 8-8 at best, but I would have said 12-4, 11-5, 10-6 acceptable predictions for the Giants. To go 8-8, that's just pretty pathetic.
Yeah, and there's like some of these other teams we talked about. The Giants deserve a little bit more respect than that. 8-8, losing the division to the Redskins. Just unsure. They, like you said, they have the ability to win 10 games, and that's what they did this year. Got a playoff win. We're going to see them on MBL Live, hopefully down the road as we get through more playoff games. But moving on, we got the NFC North. Bomber, this is your division. One thing I want to point out is that I was, surprised by, not surprised by, but just kind of glad to see the Minnesota Vikings coming back around at 12-4, finishing up the season. They had a tough loss, just like we talked about. But this division picked it right with the Lions, 13-3. They had the Bears going 10-6, and then the Vikings 9-7. So they were on the right track that a team was going to break double digits. It was just not the Bears. It was the Vikings finishing 12-4, getting into the playoffs, playing a tough game against the Giants, just not being able to finish it out, but way off on those Chicago Bears. They predicted 10-6, and those Bears only won 2 games, going 2-14. So, Bomber, this is your division. Give a little, insight on these Vikings, how they were able to win 12 games this season.
Okay, I'm not going to really, trash on Bleacher Report for this one, because you can't say the Bears are going to go 2-14 when the season starts. This is a team that's very up and down, the Bears, but they've never been down so low where they only win 2 games. But at the same point, they didn't really respect the Vikings too much at 9-7, but man, that's the low end. I had the Vikings going 9-7 to 11-5. The Lions, I had them 16-0 or 15-1. Kind of shot a little short on that one. No, but in all seriousness, the Bears. This is a tough division, actually, top to bottom now. The Packers are a formidable team. The Packers ended up winning what? What'd they win? 5-11? Man, they had some quarterback issues. Didn't have Derek Carr the entire season. I think that really hampered them. I think there were some wins to be had here for the Bears. Season just went downhill and went downhill quick. Mitch Trubisky couldn't get it done, but I don't knock them for these preseason rankings right here. 13-3, 10-6, 9-7, 7-9. They hit on the Detroit Lions, and I think they gave the Packers, if the Packers didn't have Derek Carr go down, there might have been some flexibility with them at 7-9. You might have seen that actually come to fruition, or have them at 9-7. So I just think they kind of overshot the Bears, but for good measure. This team's very up and down, and their ups have been high. They've won 10, 11 games before.
Yeah, so last year, looking at this, the NFC North, the Detroit Lions went 13-3. The Bears were 11-4-1. The Packers were 9-7, and the Vikings were 7-8-1. So this is a good division throughout all 4 teams. Like you said, they just had a down year there in Chicago, but the Vikings putting on an impressive season at 12-4. Just another great thing to see. Teams coming out.
Bananas is asking in the chat if the Bears made the playoffs last season. Luckily, we have Daddy Leagues where we all could look, and he could be saying that the Bears made the playoffs, but since he really doesn't know, he's going to have to go out there. Yes, the Bears were the 3 seed. They were the 3rd best record, not the 3 seed. They ended up being the 5th seed in the playoffs. They finished 11-4-1 last year, and their points for, points against average. Still, this is what makes them a big, up and down team, is their points for, points against is always really close. They, out of all the playoff teams, they had the closest win differential between any team. They averaged 29 a game. They gave up 24. That's 5 points, Lip. And me and you know that's just not enough to really get it done on a playoff run, because games are so close and can go either way. A fumble here, a tipped interception here, an injury there. That's just not enough cushion and not enough just strength of dominance throughout the season. That's what made them vulnerable. So they went for 11-4-1, and then the Bleacher Report said, hey, I think they'll go 10-6 this year. Not really knowing the history of the Bears. They're really up and down. This year they had their worst season of the cycle.
Yeah, and that's wrapping up the NFC North. Moving on to the NFC South. This was a division that was selected for the Saints to go 10-6. The Saints did win that division at 11-5. Falcons 9-7 was the prediction. They finished 9-7-1. So this division's pretty spot on. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going 6-10, beating the prediction by 2 games, and then the 6-10 Panthers had a down season at 2-14. But this is a division that always flip-flops between the Saints and Falcons throughout the season. You're not sure who's going to win it, but this was a good spot on, guess by prediction by the Bleacher team. Saints win the division at 11-5, and they picked 10-6. So that's pretty spot on. Boss Rodham. Ross Bonham was actually up for, he was nominated for MVP in the MBL, and this offense is actually really good. They're third in putting up points, third in total yards, fifth in passing, and then the defense is also pretty good, top 10 in almost everything. So the Saints are a team that we will talk about as we get into our playoff discussion. But is this how it always goes? It's always the Saints and the Falcons. You could never really pick one. It's just tough. So you put them one game apart and you just coin flip it?
Yeah, whoever did this division, I would definitely say that you pay attention, but it's not that impressive because it always ends up playing out like this. You did kind of short the Saints on some victories along with the Falcons. Well, not the Falcons. I think they had the Falcons 9-7. The Saints, you shorted them, 1? This is like nearly spot on. The Buccaneers ended up finishing 6-10. They're 4-12, and then the Panthers were pretty pathetic. But I think they were right on. I mean, I think they pay attention, and the trends have been less like trends and more like concrete in this division. It's pretty much how it rolls out, and the Saints just always seem to edge out the Falcons, in my opinion. My thing about this is I wanted to say one thing, and now I'm kind of forgetting it. All right, what was I going to say? I was going to say something important, and it totally slipped my mind. So,
your prediction for tonight on MBL Live is the Steelers.
Yeah, that's in a blowout. Okay. Oh, it was about Ross Bonham, actually.
There you go.
We had 5 nominees for MVP. Ross Bonham, if you're looking for a chip on your shoulder throughout this playoffs to have, you did not receive 1 vote from the NBL owners and media of the NBL in the NBL. Out of all the NBL candidates, he was the only one that received 0 on votes. So, if you're looking for some kind of reason to start balling out in the playoffs, there you go. I mean, we've given it to you right there. Let's move on. What do we got next? Let's close out this Bleacher Report thing.
So the last division that we're going to be talking about is the NFC West, and this is a team that won this division that I think is a great pick in the NFC to pick to win that conference, and that's the Seattle Seahawks at 13-3. Now, the Bleacher Report had them at 11-5, and they didn't have anybody else close, and that's pretty spot on. The Rams had a decent season at 7-9, beating the prediction by 3 games. San Francisco 5-11, Arizona 2-13-1. This division did not have a whole lot of competition this year. It was the Seahawks the whole way through. They picked them at 11-5. They finished 13-3. I think that they are a strong pick to win the NFC, Bomber.
They put the Niners at 2-14. Oh my gosh! So they put the how many wins did they give the Eagles?
4? No,
I don't think so. I think they 3.
2.
Oh, 2. So they put the Eagles on the same level as
they had
as the
4
Niners.
wins. They picked them at 2.
I'd like to know who did this and why they thought. I mean, to give anybody 2 wins as a prediction, that's aggressive in the other direction. You know, they didn't make any 14-2 team predictions, right? But they're making 2-14 predictions from a young team that's made the playoffs before. I just feel that's just a little aggressive on the other end. They ended up winning 5, so they doubled it. So as you see, a juke to the inside right there from Derek Bradford, balling for the Seattle Seahawks, another MVP candidate of the NBL. This division was pretty much stayed course as well, so it's just as boring as the NFC South. It just played out the way everybody thought they would lay it out, and here we are.
Yeah, and that there's not a whole lot to talk about there. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of competition in that division. It was the Seahawks the whole way. So now it's the exciting part. It is playoff time in the NBL. We're going to be talking about the teams that we're basically going to go round by round here. We're going to pick who we think is the best candidates to win each conference and then the Super Bowl. And
we can't pick us, right?
No, absolutely not. We're not going to pick ourselves, and there are some updates that we should give. The Chiefs won over the Broncos in the wild card round, and the Giants won over the Vikings in the wild card round as well. So those are games that already happened. You're going to see a graphic here that's going to display the playoff seeding. Those games have already been played. So now you've got the Browns and the Jets as the top seeds in the AFC. You've got the Seahawks and the Lions as the top seeds in the NFC. So we know that the Chiefs are moving on. They're playing the Jets. Tonight on MBL Live, we've got Pittsburgh against Jacksonville. I'm not going to comment on that game a whole lot. And then we're going to have the Falcons and the Saints. I believe they're playing later tonight at some point. And that's going to be interesting. I honestly think you made a good point. Ross Bonham didn't get a single vote in the MVP race. Nobody thought he was the MVP. I think that's going to fuel them past the Atlanta Falcons in this first round. I'm not gonna pick on my game, but that's the game that I think right now, and I want to say that puts the Giants against the Lions. Let me look here.
Preparation, Lip.
I'm trying to think of the seeding. So the Vikings are out. That puts the Giants. If the Saints would win, that would put the Saints against the Seahawks and the Giants against the Lions in my NFC.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be. But I'm going to just go ahead and take myself out. So you want to keep going? You want to finish your prediction?
So
before you bore us to death here,
I won't pick myself. I'll go with the Jaguars. So that would end up having the Chiefs against the Jets and the Jaguars against the Browns. And I'll be honest, I'll be brutally honest, I don't think that there's any of either of those teams could get a win against the Browns or the Jets. So that's going to put those Jets and those Browns playing in the AFC Championship. So right now, that's the top seeds are going to make it in the AFC to me. So that puts the Saints against the Seahawks and the Giants against the Lions. I think that the Seahawks are going to win. I don't think the Saints have enough. The Giants-Lions game's tough for me. I'm not going to pick you just because I don't want to. I'll just be straight up honest. So I'm going to have the Seahawks and the Giants play. I'm giving it to the Seahawks. And then honestly, I think the Browns win the AFC over the Jets because the Jets can't play defense, and that Browns defense is tough. That's going to give me a Seahawks-Browns Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, Star, you're not repeating. It's going to be another champion in the MBL, and it's going to be the Seahawks.
All right, I'm with you all the way till the fact of the AFC. I'm going to say, so who plays the Jets if it all goes down? The Browns will play the Jaguars, and then the Browns will play the Jets. No, the Browns will play the Chiefs, excuse me, and then the Jaguars play the Jets. So I think the Jets beat the Jaguars. I think the Chiefs upset the champs. Then it's the Chiefs versus the Jets. And bananas, just when you think I'm picking you, I'm going Draco defense all the way. Let's go, baby. To the Super Bowl season 32, we're going to have the Chiefs taking on. Let's see. So how does this play out? So if I lose the next game and I play the Giants make it. Seahawks, Saints. Oh, I want to say Seahawks. I'm going to say Seahawks. Seahawks over them. The Seahawks play the Giants. Giants completely collapse, get blown out. Chiefs versus Seahawks. Draco wins the championship. Season 32. MBL champion is Draco. Defense, baby. He doesn't like the WWE. He likes the NXT. And just like that, the underdog's going to take it all. And that's the mentality he's had. I'm going Draco defense. And that's my upset prediction. Because in reality, Draco's gone in the next round.
As we're talking about these playoff matchups, get your questions in for the Crossfire segment of the show, and Isolated's going to pull them for us, and then we're going to discuss them at the end of the show. So, do you really think, deep down, that these Chiefs are real enough to win an MBL championship? This offense, I'm not too sure. They're not too bad,
but they got the quarterback back. Strzelczyk is back now. He's healthy, so no more Dottie.
Is that enough? At 24th in yards and top in the defense. Is that enough?
Any given Sunday, this team is good enough to beat any team. They're going to need a couple things. They're going to need a couple bounces to go their way, a fumble to go their way, and they're going to have to get lucky on a couple throws that should have been picked. You know what I'm saying? They're going to need a little luck. But I think they could shell-shock some teams here. I think they could shell-shock the Cleveland Browns. Because, honestly, I think they play a similar style, and if they can just get to Joe Watson, and Joe Watson's a little off, don't be surprised if we're talking Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Now, a couple questions already coming in, and someone needs to let Jamie know, you cannot be one and done if you got a bye. That's already been established years before you were here. If you have a bye week, you can't go one and done because you've already surpassed the one because you earned the bye week. Yeah. Division wins, man. I know it's a different thing. All right, so where are we at now? We're done with this, right? Let's get the.
Well, I just want to point out that those Browns.
Oh my gosh, what?
Those Browns took down those Chiefs 33-23.
Oh, it can easily be a blowout.
Week 3.
But let's talk upset city. If there's one team in here that you think has no chance, it's the lowest chance there is the Chiefs. And I'm just saying, any given Sunday, the Chiefs could win. They could win a game if they get lucky enough. The only problem is when they do lose, it's going to be like a lot, and it's going to feel like they shouldn't even have been there.
Valid.
Well, let's
I will give you that, but I don't know. Those Browns are tough. The Browns are tough. The Seahawks are tough. That's one of the matchups I would like to see. There's several matchups.
How does Drockel play the Jets? Is the Jets the number 1 seed?
Yes.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the number 1 seed.
Dude, he could upset the Jets. Yes.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
When the Chiefs beat
100%,
the Jaguars,
yes.
Oh, he could upset the Jets. Oh, I mean, 100%. I could see Bananas going out to Kansas City. 100% because they play the bend don't break, but then they also will send the heat occasionally, and that could, if it's just we always talk about this, Lip, offline, the matching of defenses. When you play someone, you go, man, he was just calling the right plays against the stuff I was calling, and it just, it just seems like just match up, right? You know who would do that a lot? CMF, former MBL owner. When he would have games and you'd be like, how is he in the game with somebody else? Dude, he just gets like, it's like he's in my playbook, And Lit felt the same way about him. You just see pressure coming when you didn't want pressure to come. And then when it looked like pressure was coming, he was dropping back into coverage. Very aggressive people will kind of match up with you at some points. And I can see the Chiefs doing that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that every now and then it's like they come out in a set that puts a linebacker on a slot receiver, and you think there's no way that they're leaving that linebacker in man-to-man coverage against that guy. And not only is it man-to-man, it is cover zero. They're setting the heat, and it's just one of those things that you don't expect one of those matchups happen. And I totally agree with you on that because I see the Jets. I don't care what the stats say. I just don't think that this team can play legitimate defense. So that's why I think that they could, if Drucker defense could smother them on offense, they would not have anything. And that's where I could see those Chiefs, breaking through and going on a run. So that does it for the playoff talk. We're going to get to see that play out throughout the playoffs on MBL Live.
Commissioner Corner Podcast, episode number 42, the 42nd episode. Shout out to David Lee for the MBL enthusiasts out there. That was his number, 42. I couldn't think of another one off the top of my head, and there might be one that pops in here in just a little bit. But this was kind of powered by Bleacher Report right now. We got a lot of Bleacher Report graphics, so big shout out to them. JY behind the scenes pulling the strings. All right, so moving on. Let's go Crossfire.
Crossfire.
We need some music for Crossfire on Isolated. It needs to be like, I want to see like some kind of animation, like boom, 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 something like that.
We need fire.
Absolutely.
All right, Bomber.
Oh, Vin Baker, that's a good one. Vin Baker, former Milwaukee Buck, traded to the Seattle Supersonics for Sean Kemp. Both of them got fat during the lockout, and it didn't pay out for either team. But Vin Baker, number 42, that's a good one. Jamie, that's a good one. Vin Baker, I heard he works at like Starbucks now. He's hurting, man. Shout out to Vin Baker. Lil Barbarian in the chat right now saying, this is the MBL. The 5-time award-winning, 3-time Daddy League, 2-time League Crawler, League of the Year. Check us out on 365.maddenbomberleague.com. And if you play Madden 19, you're going to be playing it on Xbox during EA Access time. Go to the 365 website and apply for our free tournament, over $1,000 in prizes. Winner gets a signed Saquon Barkley New York Giants helmet. All right, let's go. RIP Sonics,
So,
all right, what do you got? Come on,
I'm going to give you
go.
a couple seconds to get a name that you would like to talk about. First question in Crossfire: what quarterback will lead the league in passing during our 5-year sim? Ooh. I'm going with a guy that is hot and cold, up and down, but I think he's a great player, and that's Jack Gerberry. The guy's got the good stats that you want to see. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. He's got the good stats that you want to see as far as computer, as far as simulation stuff. He's got 90 deep, 91 mid, 90 short, 91 throw accuracy, just all these 90s down the road. Yeah,
but they say that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters during simulation is throw accuracy. That's what Clint Oldenburger said.
Well, then if that this is something that we can do.
What's his throw accuracy?
So here his throw accuracy is 80. We will go Jack Gerberry and just spill the beans now. Will Jared Bruschke. Will he be the quarterback for the Lions in the 5-year
absolutely.
sim? Okay,
absolutely.
So this is what we're going to do.
He's got 94 throw accuracy.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to look at this guy who's got 72 deep, 82 mid, 89 short, but he has 94 throw accuracy. We're going to watch him in this 5-year sim against Gerberry, who's got 90s across the board, but 80 throw accuracy. And we'll
see if a difference.
We're going to see if there's a difference. We're going to see what really. Now, there's a million other things that play into that, but we're going to put that to the test. So I'm picking Gerberry, and now we've got this cool little challenge between Brewski and Gerberry in this 5-year sim. So that's a cool thing that came out of this discussion.
Oh, is it a cool thing, Lip? Is it a cool thing?
It is super cool.
You know what else is cool? The return of Ben Roethlisberger. That's right. We're creating him and putting him. No, I'm just kidding. 5-year sim, July 24th. Check it out. It's going to be live on twitch.tv/MBL Network. What do you want, Lip? We're not doing any of that goofy stuff, bro.
What goofy stuff?
We're not bringing guys back. Legends aren't coming back.
We are doing Pittsburgh Steelers legends.
Only for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Only for the Steelers.
But does that include Trent Redmond from the Bears?
It includes any Bears, any Steelers, and any other players, Hall of Fame members that I want to select.
Guys, I also want to let you know, for the full immersion experience, Harvey Beckham says after he retires after this year, he will be jumping on Twitter. So there's going to be a Harvey Beckham Twitter account. Make sure you guys follow it, because it's going to be good. And he's still going to be working closely with Detroit, but he says he's a free agent. He's going to be out there just running some wide receiver camps in the offseason, doing that what Olajuwon does in the regular season. But, yeah, what was the original question?
Which quarterback will lead the league in passing during the 5-year sim?
All right.
I took Gerberry.
Okay.
Who do you got?
I'm going to go with I'm going with my man, Daniel Shirley. I've been big on Daniel Shirley. I think the biggest issue with him is the fat guy's thumbs, left and right thumbs that are controlling him. Daniel Shirley's a 94 overall. He's got 97 throw power. Let me see what his throw accuracy is. His throw accuracy is 89. That's good enough to get it done. Ooh. I think Shirley has a boss year. He's 27 years old. Still got fast development, 6'6", 231. Somehow he lost his superstar development. Shout out to an isolated for that. But I think he balls out, and I don't think he plays with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he finds a way to leave.
That's a great setup for him to come on over to Pittsburgh, because we're looking for a quarterback. But
absolutely,
I like
he's been franchise tagged. So yeah.
We will see how that plays out. So we got Gerberry and Shirley, and then we're also going to be watching that Lions quarterback to see how that accuracy plays out. But moving on, most disappointing team this cycle that you expected to have more success?
New England Patriots. Yours is the same? I mean, 100%, right? There's no other more disappointing. I mean, out of box, made the Super Bowl once when the game was, I mean, if you go back and watch that game, both teams were afraid to pass the ball. You had Tom freaking Brady versus Russell Wilson. Russell the love muscle, and nobody was passing the ball. It was a very weird Super Bowl, and it was very defensive driven. But yeah, I didn't see any growth or development on that team. He drafted a tight end before Kalen Cupper. His name was Griffin McIntyre. He's currently on the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can look this up. He had 90 catches in the franchise over 4 years. He did not get re-signed. He had 0 touchdowns. 90 catches, 0 touchdowns over 4 years, a complete bust for a first-round tight end. And he was superstar development, and still to this day is superstar development. And just hasn't been developed and hasn't done anything with his career. Who do you got?
This seems like I'm just picking on the guy, but this is something that I just can't let go. The guy, this is going back to Sonny Weaver. Wins the division so many seasons in a row, doesn't pick up this final year, can't win the division. And I think having two of the best tackles in the game and never being able to, winning your division every year and then not being able to do anything with it in the playoffs, I could understand if you had a tough division and just, struggle against.
No. If you had an easy division, you could understand. Right?
Yeah, well, but that's the thing.
But his division was kind of... But he wasn't... Okay, I could understand if you had an easy division and you were barely winning the division. He was winning the division fairly convincingly and was kind of convincing the league that it was like the Titans were top 5, but we just never saw that playoff performance that took them, to the next level. I think the highest they reached was the AFC Championship game once.
I think that may have been... Oh, man, but they had the game against the Chargers in the bag, and they just completely choked and allowed a deep post to go for basically a game-winning score. They were in position at least once, probably more than I'm remembering, and they just couldn't get it done. So
shout out to Go.
I'm definitely disappointed.
All right, what's next?
In that team. Final question.
Okay.
Probably really easy for you. But and I'm going to let you go first because I think this would be an easy question for you. I have to think about it a little bit. If you could take one player from your team from Madden 18 to Madden 19, who would it be?
All right, how about we do this? Instead of just one player from our team, how about we do one player and we allow the first 10 teams that get picked up there? I'll do 5 and you do 5. From my team, obviously, it's going to be Harvey Beckham. No surprise there. Guy's a beast. Gianni Slade, I wouldn't take you anywhere because, one, you're fat. You'd probably raise my gas prices the way you drive down the vehicle. You didn't do much, dude, but you were a first-round pick, and you're healthy now, so we're happy you're back. And who will yours be, Lip? That's going to be interesting.
This is probably something people wouldn't expect.
Oh, it's got to be the safety.
No, absolutely not. I'm going with Cornelius Bailey, man.
Oh, God, you're so big on that corner.
27th in the first round. The guy just had such a great 2 years with me. 3 years, sorry. Six interceptions, 5 and 7. Just really like the way this guy's developing. I wish I had him earlier, but if I could take him into Madden 19, that'd definitely be my guy.
All right, any other teams that got that question? They're posing that question.
Any other teams?
Yeah, is there any other teams listed in the chat in which they are posting who we think they should take? Okay, everybody's posting their team. They completely missed the question. All right, let's wrap it up. Then they didn't get what I was saying. Maybe I confused them.
But Porter says Churfy Gooch, which that's a great name, but he really didn't really never played out the way I envisioned it.
Hank me first, Beekman. Well, he's got to beat me first. No more Kendrick Montgomery for the rest of the season. All right, let's close out the show.
All right. This has been episode number 42 of Commissioner Corner Podcast. This is probably our last episode talking about this cycle. It's been a great year, really. Honestly, it has. We're going to see the playoffs play out. We talked about them a bunch tonight. We'll probably be back, but it will be for discussing the Players Hall of Fame. We'll be talking about that on the show. But we're going to get to see the final playoff run here. And as always, make sure you guys tune into MBL Network. Those games are going to be posted. You'll know where to find them. As always, make sure you tune in tonight, 10 p.m., I believe. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got an MVP candidate going on there. Leonard Fournette is going to try to run over those Steelers to get a playoff win. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I will see you guys at MBL Live. Have a fantastic evening.